Hundreds of trans rights supporters marching down Burrard Street in Vancouver Wednesday afternoon, counter-protesting demonstrations against SOGI 123, sexual orientation and gender identity education in BC schools.
I just think it's really important to show support for trans youth. I think trans healthcare and education saves lives.
The counter-protesters started gathering at the Vancouver Art Gallery around noon. Maureen Colclough says if she had to tell her grandkids about what was going on,
I would tell them it's always important to stand up for the rights of people when other people are taking a stand against them.
I think allyship is always important to let other Canadians know that there is a tremendous amount of support for trans people, for trans rights, and just as there have been support for women's rights, for rights for people of color, this just happens to be our particular fight to fight.
The counter-protest was a response to those protesting sexual orientation and gender identity policies in schools, who gathered a block away from the art gallery in a smaller demonstration. The outpouring of support for trans rights comes as some provinces put in policies making young students get parental consent before teachers can use their preferred names and pronouns, which some argue are a violation of children's rights. Multiple public figures condemned the anti-SOGI protests, including BC Premier David Eby, BC Human Rights Commissioner Kasari Govender, and Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim. Marissa Wright says social media has over-amplified the messaging of anti-SOGI supporters, saying they're in the minority.
Well, I think you can see from the display down here, there 95+% of the people are here to support trans rights. They're not here to support the other messages.
The anti-SOGI demonstration and the counter-protesters both marched to Jack Pool Plaza. The protests were mostly without incident, but City News saw at least one person being detained, but can't confirm if they were arrested. Colclough says she wanted to show support for trans communities and address misinformation.
There's a lot of misunderstanding out there and a lot of things being told that are not true. So it's really not the fault of a lot of people gathering here to oppose SOGI and trans rights. They've been misinformed. But I just want to show up and support trans kids.
In Vancouver, Kier Junos, City News.